Hello, everyone, and welcome to day one of Health is Wealth, the 5-day online retreat with myself, Juliet Bryant. And we're going to have a special guest appearance from Giles Bryant on Wednesday. And some of the videos going out will have him in as well. So welcome everyone to this space. I'm going to give you a brief introduction about myself because some of you don't know me, some of you are new to me. So I trained in nutrition 17 years ago and have been working in that field for many moons. Before that, I was a classical actress, a healer and a meditation teacher. That's kind of where it all started out. But my passion for healing, for health, for well-being started really when I was 8 years old, when my mother was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And this had a really big impact upon my life and my goals in life as well. It was at that point that I wanted to find a cure. I wanted to become a doctor and find a cure for MS. And that really became quite a passion of mine. And I haven't become a doctor, but I think I've become the next best thing, a health researcher, nutritional consultant, and superfood alchemist and healer. You know, we are more than our physical body. We are mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical beings. And we need to work on all layers when we look at health and well-being. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about vibration, because this is such an important subject when it comes to health and well-being. A little bit more about myself. When I started out recently, I have 3 children, and I am a mother to 3 boys. So that keeps me busy. I'm really passionate about growing food and foraging and supporting people in this process. One of my desires is to get some land and have it as a community herbal space, growing food, teaching, an education centre, a space where we can come together in love, in joy, in laughter, to raise our vibrations and to really shine out into the world. So that is one of my missions, quite a big mission of mine. So if anyone can help, let me know. Okay, so on to where we're at now. The world is vibration. This is what we're looking at today. How can we align to our truth? And what can we work with to support our vibration being raised? So vibrations change, don't they? What's really interesting is life is ever changing. Life is ever moving. And the seasons change, our moods change, our energy level changes. So one of the things that I think is really important when we look at the world as vibration is looking at being here now. Where are we? Where are we in this moment? Because this is so important when it comes to our vibration. You know, quite often our mind can take us on many trips, can't it? Into lots of different avenues of stress, of fear, of jealousy, of all of this stuff. And we all have this running all the time. What's in the future? Where am I going? What am I doing? How am I going to pay the rent? How am I going to pay the mortgage? Blah, blah, blah. Gas prices rising. You know, all of this stuff that's going on that we hear all the time. This constant narrative of fear. I'm going to show you a chart in a minute, but that's all out there, isn't it? That's not actually in this moment. So I want you guys to take a moment right now, and I want you to think, in this moment right now, how are you? So I just want you to maybe close your eyes if you feel called to, or just tune into yourself and feel into now. How are you right now? How is your body? What's going on for you in this moment? And if anyone wants to write how they're feeling right now in the chat box, then please feel free to. Peace, someone said, lovely. You know, so often when we come out of the stress, out of the pull, in the moment, actually, when we pause to remember what that moment is, it's all okay. This is something I've been working with a lot because my life in my family with one of my children is very stressful, and it pulls a lot of my energy a lot of the time. So I have to keep remembering. It's the thing about everything, it's remembering. And sometimes I don't remember. And sometimes I get pulled away with my mental, you know, that chatter, that stuff. And other times I do remember and I go, hang on, how am I now? So it's a really powerful and simple tool to use to support our vibration. How am I right now? One of the things that's very interesting is there's an amazing chart that I'm going to show you all, if I can. It's always a joy. I haven't quite mastered how to talk and pull things up at the same moment and do it seamlessly. Okay, here we go. Share. So this is a really interesting chart. There's someone called Dr. David Hawkins, and he wrote a book called Power versus Force. And this chart, can everyone see this chart okay? Yeah, great. I'll send you guys this chart as well so you can see it more clearly as well. This chart goes through a range. He basically dowsed. And what he did was he found out that everything resonates at a frequency. So wherever we are depends on this frequency. So you can see shame is at the bottom. That's the worst. That's 20. 1,000 is the highest, and that's full consciousness. That's, you know, totally self-realized, God-like, you know, connection. Love is 500. Oneness, 540. And you can see all these range of different emotions on this level of consciousness chart. And this is basically vibration. Where are we vibrating? And it changes from moment to moment. We're not always going to be in the same spot. We're not going to always be in the same vibration. But it's remembering and having the tools. And this is what we're going to talk about today. How can I shift? If I'm going down into grief, pain, fear, anger, all of this stuff, how can I change that? Sometimes we have to be in it, we have to feel it because these are human emotions, and we don't want to deny any emotions. We don't want to push them away and bury them under the carpet because that's really not healthy. So we want to acknowledge them, but we don't want them to linger. How often do you linger in negative emotions? Do you guys find that something that happens? That you linger? We don't linger so much in positive emotions, do we? That's a harder one to linger in. We get pulled quite quickly, most people, back into the negative. And we're going to talk about different ways that we can shift that. One of the ways, and Giles mentioned it in the chat, is Hare Krishna. You know, chants. One of the things I found, I was on a protest in the summer, last summer, and we were outside the BBC headquarters on this protest, and it's getting a bit dark. The vibration was getting quite low, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the feeling. It felt very heavy, and I said to Giles, I want to get out of here. I want to get out of here. And I just started moving. I didn't know where I was moving, but I felt this pull, and suddenly there was a group of Hare Krishnas chanting. And I started chanting with them, and within about 30 seconds, it was literally like this light just went pop, and all this darkness popped. It was literally like that, and it was gone. It was dispelled, and all that was left was love. And this is something so important to remember, that ultimately, when it comes to it, that is actually all there is. That's actually it. It's just love. And there's a lovely song, It's Our Love or a Calling for Love. And that's by someone called Fantuzzi. It's a great song. And it's something that runs through my head quite a lot, because it's all love, or it's a calling for love. If we're not in that space of love, we're calling for it. That's what we all so desperately seek. We so desperately want to be back in that state of love because that is our natural state. So when we can resonate, when we can vibrate in that space, it's such a beautiful thing. Brings tears to my eyes just thinking about that space of love that is our true nature. So when we're thinking about, okay, so the world is vibration, ultimately everything is love. What can we do to remind ourselves, to pull us back into that? And what pulls us off that? So I want you to have a think for a minute. What pulls you out of that alignment, out of your truth? If anyone wants to type in the chat, what pulls you out of that space of alignment, that space of a higher vibration? Seeing family upset, stress. Yeah. Money quite often does it, doesn't it? Pulls us out of alignment. The fear of money, grief. Yeah. So we have things that happen in life that we can't change. We have circumstances, overwhelm, really good one. We have circumstances in life that happen. And we can't control a lot of those circumstances, but what can we control? Well, we can control us. We can control how we choose to respond. And sometimes we won't respond the way we want to. And then what we generally do, a lot of people, is get into a cycle of shame and guilt. I should have done that. I should have done it like that. Why didn't I do that? And this self-beating up. Does anyone else do that? I do that quite a lot. That's one I'm trying to work on a lot. That constant blaming of like, why didn't I do that? I could have done it better. But ultimately, we're all doing the best we can in the moment with the resources and the knowledge we have. So I want you to think about that. We're all doing the best we can in the moment with the knowledge and the resources we have. And that's all we can ever do, isn't it? We can only ever do our best with what we've got. And we may learn something else that allows us to step up and step into a new space and go, okay, well, now I can see that a bit differently. I can react in a different way. I can choose to react in a different way. And it's programming, it's constantly reprogramming, rewiring, because things become habitual and we don't even realize. So we get these habits of response that are automatic. So it will take time to break those habits and consistency. So that's why we just have to keep going, putting one foot in front of the other. And sometimes it feels like we've gone 10 steps back, but we haven't. We're still always moving forward because we're always learning. So when we're thinking about our vibration, being kind to ourselves is probably one of the most important things. That kindness and that love we show to others. Most people are really good at giving love to others. They're really good at giving compliments to others. They're really good at all that. But receiving it, that can be harder, can't it? How many of you, when someone says, you look lovely, go, it's nothing. It's just because I've had a bath, or I've had a shower, or I've washed my hair, or I've brushed my hair, or I've shaved my hair, or whatever it may be. How many of you guys do that? You push the compliment off because you can't accept that, but you're very happy to give it to someone else. The other one is, you look great. Yes, so do you. That instant, instead of receiving, the instant like, boom, I'm just going to send that right back because I can't cope with taking that in. Well, this is all about our vibration. The vibration of receiving. So next time someone says, you look lovely, just pause and feel it and say thank you. That's it. Thank you. Giles said you always look lovely. That's very kind. So that is one of your challenges, to receive a compliment when someone gives it to you and not feel the need to throw it back. You all look lovely. I thought you were telling me I look lovely. There was I receiving the compliment, ready to receive. But everyone does look lovely that I can see with their cameras on. So when we're thinking about that vibration, we're thinking about, okay, so we have things that pull us off. How can we react differently? So a really good exercise for you guys to do, and we're going to take a few minutes to do this now. If you've got pen and paper, that's great. What I would like you to do is I'd like you to do 2 columns. So divide the paper in half. And down one column, you're going to write the things that pull you off, actual incidents, things that happen that pull you off. And then on the other column, you're going to write things that help you to feel great. What helps you to feel really good? Okay? So I want you just to take 30 seconds quickly. What pulls us off our vibe, yeah, is the first column. And then what really helps us to align to our vibe in the second column. So we're just going to take another 30 seconds and then finish this up. You can, of course, spend more time on this afterwards. So one of the things that's really important when we're trying to get clear about our vibration is being specific. So often we can be quite vague with intentions. How often do we set an intentions that we want more abundance? Well, what abundance? What do we actually want? Like, let's narrow it down. What do we actually want? And this is a really important part of vibration. It's getting clear with your intention. What is it you want to achieve? Why are you here right now? What do you want to achieve? What is your intention for these 5 days? So I want you just to think about this right now and just think about what actually specifically you want to get from this. Not something vague and woolly, but let's really narrow it down. What is your intention for these 5 days for this Health is Wealth retreat? And if anyone wants to type their intention into the chat box, then please feel free to. Be healthier. Okay, that's one intention. Great. Reset and get back into alignment. Okay, great. If we're thinking about resetting and getting back into alignment, one of the things you need to look at is, well, what is out of align? Find my best self. Lovely. And with being healthier, what is not very healthy right now? So when we set an intention and when we want to do something positive, we have to take a moment of reflection. Let's be clear where we are. And this comes back to, where am I right now? Well, actually, what elements of your life need to be healthier? What elements need to be reset? So I want you just to take a moment to think about what you've written down as your intention and how can you actually take that to the next level? What is it specifically we're dialing down? We're constantly dialing down into the root of what's going on. So if it's positivity, well, where are you being more negative? Where do you need to shift that negativity? If it's finding your best self, when do you not feel like your best self? Because these are the ways we're going to change, by looking at the bits that we don't necessarily want to look at, the shadow parts, the bits that aren't working. Those are the bits we need to address. So if it's overwhelm, getting out of overwhelm, well, what is triggering your overwhelm? And then how can we work to actually move from that space? What are the tools we need? I need to be kinder to myself. Someone's written, that's an amazing one, being kinder to ourselves. So then it's catching yourself. It's like, well, when am I really unkind to myself? Usually when I feel like I've messed something up, maybe, and maybe I have negative words that come in, oh, you idiot, or you're stupid, whatever it may be. Well, how can I rephrase that? But we need to know, well, generally, when do I fall into that trap of being unkind? Because then what we can do is we can write notes, we can put reminders up, we can put affirmations so that we're looking at these things to take us out of those states. Does that make sense to everyone? We're all, most people are very visual. So if you see things around you that are positive, that are charged with that energy that you want to bring in, it's going to help you bring you into that space. So for example, in front of my desk, I've got about 4 different vision boards that I've done with words. So right now I'm looking at a beautiful big unk I've drawn, and it says trust and peace. And then there are other words around it: love, friendship, community, abundance, lots of different things. So when I'm sitting at my desk, I look up and I'm looking at that. So what do you think's going into my brain on a regular basis? Well, it's those words. And so they're shaping my reality. Our environment shapes our reality. So when we're looking at vibration, if everything is vibration, everything is vibrating around us, and like attracts like. If you have 2 tuning forks and you bang them away from each other and they're both different notes, you bring them together and they start resonating together. Have you ever been like in a really bad mood and you seem to just bring people in that space towards you? Or the opposite, you're in a great mood and you attract the same vibration. So like attracts like. So what do you want to be vibrating to? That's what we need to bring in. So some of the ways that we can do this is looking at our environment, looking at what's going on around us. My office was a bomb site just before this. I'd had events all weekend. I'd been making up mixes. So there was bits of herbs on the floor. There was powders for my mixing. There was stuff everywhere, boxes for packing up orders. It was chaotic. So we got cleaning, sorting it, and now it looks lovely. And that vibration affects everything. So one of the things that is super important when it comes to our space and our vibration, and as I said, like attracts like, so we want our surroundings to be in the best space possible. How often do you feel like crap and your environment is messy and it's cluttered and it represents, it's showing you where you're at? So what can we do about that? Well, we can smudge. We can go round with incense, with bells, with sage, with a smudge stick, and we can actually clear our space energetically. And quite often, clearing it energetically helps the progression of clearing it physically, because it can be really hard to clear something physically if it's energetically stuck as well. So you shift the energy, and then you're like, actually, I want to shift these things. I want to move this, because your vibration is shifting with the smudging. So you can go around with sound, you can go around clapping. The most important thing is intention. As I said a few minutes ago, intention is everything. What you intend is what you create. So if we want to have a good vibration, if we want to have health and wealth, that abundance of health, it brings about abundance in all areas because everything is the same. So our health, our body, is a representation of what's going on around us. They say things move through the field. So illness, disease, all of this stuff comes through our field. It goes through the spiritual, mental, emotional, physical is the last manifestation. So if we can clear stuff when it's out here, then that's so much better. So when we're looking at shifting our vibration, we want to look at our space. How can I clear that space physically and energetically? Feng Shui is an amazing thing to look at. Giles did a great video. He did was it a 21-day series on health and well-being, a free one on YouTube. I'll send the video link to you guys. He did a great one on Feng Shui, which was really, really good, really informative. It talks about the different areas of the house. And it was really interesting because at that time we went and we worked on those different areas so that the different areas represented. So you have your wealth corner, you have your family corner, your creativity, and we would put things in those areas to match what it was meant to be. And it really helped. It was a really, really useful process to go around and do. And sometimes if I'm feeling stuck in certain areas, I'll go and check that part of the house. Or how is that? Is the windowsill that's our abundance corner a bit dirty? Have I left that and neglected it? Or is the family area being covered by stuff? Do we need to bring it out and make it all look nice? So really, really useful to look at that because those things match. When we're looking at our vibration, another thing that's really important to bear in mind is not just what's going on physically and energetically, but also what's going on in the kind of field. So when I'm talking about that, your electromagnetic field, is there a lot of Wi-Fi pollutants? Is there a lot of EMF pollutants? Because this is going to shift your vibration. Have you been around 5G and your head starts to suddenly hurt? I was driving and I saw these 5G transmitters, but before that, my head started to feel a bit funny. I was like, oh, what's that heavy feeling? And then I saw these big transmitters, it's like mobile phone masts. They are going to impact upon our vibration. But there are things we can do to counter. There's always things we can do to counter. So, it's looking, for example, sat under my laptop is this beautiful orgone generator. This is a beautiful device that helps reduce EMF. So I have this sat underneath my laptop. I also feel like it vibes it up with this, beautiful copper spiral, the crystals in there, shungite in there. It's a really lovely thing. So that sits underneath my laptop, just vibing it up, vibing the work up and clearing the stuff that the phone is giving, the computer's giving off. So shungite is a great one, but having stuff around you that's going to help raise your vibration. So what else helps us to raise our vibration in our home? Let's just think about that for a moment. For me, plants are a really great one. Can you guys think of anything? Please do type it in the chat if you can think of anything in your home that helps shift your vibration. I love art, so art up on the wall. For me, that's a really shifting thing. I love orchids, so we've got lots of orchids around, and the colour, colour shifts things, doesn't it? So bright, colourful things in your home can shift your vibration. Water feature, someone said. Music, yeah, exactly. If you're feeling a bit down, put on some good music and you can have a dance around, and that can really shift things. That's one of my favourite things, just, or shaking it all off, That's a really good one to shift your vibration. Breathing, art, yeah, great responses. So these are all different things that we can do. Cooking, yep. Singing is a lovely one. I love singing, love making, someone says. Yeah, great, that's always a good one. So lots of different things that we can do in our home. I've got plants all around because they're really a really beautiful thing, and things that, like the lovely artwork, it shifts your consciousness. So if you're vibrating in a low space, what can you bring in to shift that? Giles said chimes as well. Chimes are beautiful to have up. Have them on the doors, so when you open the doors, you're going to hear that beautiful sound. So when we're looking at shifting our vibration, when we're looking at how can we do that, food also plays a part in this. Food plays a really big part in this, and there's this really, let's see if I can do this, really lovely chart again that I'm going to share with you guys. I'm going to attempt to share with you guys. Okay, share screen. Okay, so I thought this was a really brilliant chart when I saw this. And your version of this might be slightly different, but I thought this was really quite apt. So what we're looking at is what foods can affect our vibration, because everything is vibration. So thought is vibration, sound is vibration, but food are vibrations. So when we look at this, the lowest vibration is that of death. Makes sense, doesn't it? You consume dead meat that has no life force in it. That's going to be a pretty low vibration. So that's the bottom one. We've got that. We've also got things like pizza, hot dogs, burgers, that kind of processed, heavily processed foods. Then we move up to the next category where we've got things like sugary things, we've got donuts, dairy. We've got that next kind of level of lower vibration. And I just want to add with this, obviously we can change the vibration of foods with our thoughts, with gratitude. But this is just a kind of overall chart, and I think this is quite a good one. And then we've got vegetables. We've got more kind of underground vegetables for the next level up. And then we get kind of higher and higher as we go. So we've got lots of lovely fruits and raw nuts as the next category, going up to raw chocolate, seaweed, spirulina, goji berries, mangosteen. So really high energy, high life force. And in the top of this chart, they've put wheatgrass, phytoplankton, and chlorella and essential oils. Part of this was done based on the frequency that the food emits. So when you're looking at the kind of vibrational frequency, you can see down this left-hand side the sound frequency that these foods emit. And the essential oils, the wheatgrass, the marine phytoplankton, the chlorella have that highest vibration, sound vibration coming out. I would probably put medicinal mushrooms up in that top category as well. The top one is sunlight, the top vibration, because ultimately everything comes from sunlight, doesn't it? So I thought this was a really interesting chart for thinking about foods as vibratory. So when we think about what we're eating, yes, sauerkraut should be high as well. Lots of green plants. Nettles, I would say, are really super high as well in there. But that's, you can't put everything on those charts, but that's, I thought, was quite a good representation to start getting that brain thinking like that. How many of you think about food in a vibratory sense? Anyone? Some people, maybe? Yes, I'll definitely send you these charts. I'll put them in an email. They're great. Yeah, sometimes we think about it, but not always. It's kind of, it kind of links to one of my sayings. Do we want to survive or thrive? Well, it's that lower vibration food that is just survival, where it's that high vibration food that is helping us to thrive. Because the more we consume high vibrational foods, guess what? The higher vibe we're going to be. Yesterday I was driving back. I had I had about 4.5 hours in the car driving. I'd been up in Bristol and I was really hungry, and I was feeling quite tired. And so I stopped at the motorway service station, the M&S, and I got some olives. I got a ginger shot, which was quite nice, and some hummus and falafels. Not the best food, not terrible food, bit processed and packaged, but I needed it. I was hungry and I needed to keep going. So that's sometimes you do what you have to do, and that's fine. That's where you're at in that moment, and that's all good. But the more we can start thinking about, well, if I'm in a certain mood, what can I do to shift that? It's like color. Really interesting information about color. Different colors resonate with different emotions. So purple it's a color of deep wisdom and deep connection to that oneness, but also purple is on the vibration of depression. So what you find is quite often people who are depressed, in a depressed state, will be drawn to purple. Purple's often used for death, isn't it? It's got that kind of heaviness to it, as well as that oneness and inspiration. So if you think about purple, you think about depression. Well, if you're in a depressed state, you don't want to go for that, because that's the like vibration. You want to go for the opposite. So that's orange. Orange is the opposite to purple. So when you're around orange, it uplifts you. I mean, generally, what happens when you see something bright orange or bright yellow? How do you feel? It's uplifting, isn't it? because it's resonating with our bodies, with those energy centers that may be a bit depressed or a bit low. So what we always need to do is think, okay, if I'm going into a low state, it's catching it, isn't it? It's catching where you're at and going, okay, I need to rectify this. So what are the tools I can put in place to catch myself before I descend too low? So being around colorful things, so being around beautiful, bright things, having flowers around you, being in nature. Being in nature is such an amazing way to shift our vibration. Go get into a woods, get by the sea, go for a cold swim in the water. Boom! Has anyone done cold water swimming? It's an amazing shift. You go, oh, it resets your nervous system, but it also cleanses and clears you. So it's realigning you into that vibration of truth. Grounding yourself on the earth. One of my rituals at the moment that is so super supportive of me is in the morning, making myself a ceremonial cacao. I use this beautiful ceremonial cacao, and I put either my CBD hot chocolate or my mushroom mix or my awaken into it. And then I go outside and stand barefoot and I just connect into my heart and drink that. And it's really helpful to help me get through some challenges. You know, we have to have those tools. And that's the amazing thing. There are tools for us. You know, we're not stranded out at sea with nothing. We have a lifeboat. We have life jackets. You know, we have these things to help us and support us. We have people. We have, if you want to believe in angels or guides or fairies or whatever you want to believe in. But there is a whole unseen world around us supporting us. It's got our back. You know, so remembering that, for me, one of my biggest tools is remembering to ask the universe for help. How often do you ask for help and support? When your vibration is going low, how often do you go, I need help? Whoever you want to talk to, I need help. Please help me. Please help me to feel supported. Please help me to not feel alone. Because when we can say these things, when we can ask, help comes from usually the most obscure corner in the way that you weren't expecting. But it comes, but we have to ask. So when we're thinking about our vibration, we've only got a few more minutes left. I'm going to open up to some questions in a second, but I just want to finish with, when we're thinking about our vibration, and I want you to ruminate on this tonight if you can, as you go to bed and maybe in the morning. What tools, I want you to write it down, what tools can you use? What can you do to keep your vibration high? Or to help you lift it when it goes down? What can you actually do? Practical steps. So it may be smudging your house. It may be buying some beautiful flowers, maybe a nice plant. It may be getting out for a walk in nature. It may be going barefoot. It may be making some ceremonial cacao or having some of my CBD hot chocolate. Maybe making yourself a nice nourishing smoothie, like the video that you've all received hopefully for today of the simple smoothie. Putting those good foods into your body. Maybe getting some colour in, maybe dancing or singing, but write down these practical steps. So, okay, I'm feeling a little low. I'm feeling like my vibration's going. 5 things that I can do. And you don't have to do all of them, but write down those 5 things that I can do, and then have them somewhere where you can see it all the time, so that you feel you're going. It's like, oh, music, sing. What can I sing? I can sing this. Or like Giles has said, we've got the well-being exercises, which we put out today for you guys. So hopefully you've seen that lovely video. Moving your body. Shaking, as I said before, shaking's a great one. You know, shake it all off. Shake, rattle and roll. You know, clear it, shift it. So have a think about those things. So I hope you have found this session useful. Day 1. I'm going to open up just for a few questions. If anyone has any, we'll just have a couple of minutes of questions. If anyone wants to unmute themselves, please feel free to. or if you feel shy, you can type your question in the chat box.
Just like to say thank you, Juliet, for giving this to people. It's a really wonderful resource. You're very kind. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Juliet. I'm looking forward to the rest of the week. And yeah, it's just looking around my office, and it's a tip of kids' clothes, and it's a junk room, my office, and I do need to just, it's my creative space, and it's just something that is definitely got to clear up and make it feel better. We're doing lots of stuff around the house. I'm not doing stuff in my area.
It so often can happen, can't it? We do stuff everywhere else and we forget our inner space, you know, and that's representative of, we often, you know, look after everyone else, but are we looking after ourselves? It's the same thing. So even if it's 5-10 minutes, you know, it didn't take us long to tidy up my office. It looked like a bomb had hit it, but within 10-15 minutes it was sorted. It wasn't actually as big a job as we thought, but it was like, oh, and I kept looking at it going, oh my God, oh, I don't have the energy. But actually, once I just started, wasn't so bad. Okay, so someone has said, so useful, thank you, thank you. What morning routine things can we do to raise our vibration? So barefoot on the earth, raw cacao in the morning, really good one. My awaken is another good a morning thing that we can do. Gratitude. When I wake up, the first thing I like to do is I like to think about, I just lay there and I just think about what I'm grateful for. So I'm starting my day in that space. And when I get up and go to the bathroom, I try to hold that in my head, just that gratitude. What am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? And go to bed in that space. And I think when you said, you know, what morning routine things can we do to raise our vibe, that's a really good one. Having a green smoothie or having a smoothie with lots of some fresh greens in is really good to raise our vibration. Drinking plenty of clean water. Another great thing in the morning is to get a big cup of water. You know, I like to take my supplements in the morning, have some superfoods. My new CBD mushroom and cacao super elixir oil is here. So I like to take that in the morning, a couple of drops, and that helps to raise my vibration. So hopefully that's helped you with a few ideas. So thank you guys so much for being here. We'll be sending out more videos and information. The rest of the week is going to be a great one, so do stay tuned, and I will see you all very soon. Someone said, can we have a link to your products? Yes, you definitely can. I will send a link in a newsletter tomorrow for you guys. And if anyone you know would like to be part of this, please do share this with them so that they can enjoy it. And the replay will be coming out later as well. Lots of love and sleep well. Bye.